Welcome back to the LCS Arena, where Game 2 of our match of the week between Fnatic and G2 Esports is about to get underway. And man, after a really bunch of hype expectations, coming in and seeing G2 strangle the life out of Fnatic was unexpected.
Yeah. It's just a beauty to watch when two good teams face each other. It only takes like 2 or 3 key moments to honestly decide a game, because both teams will leave so few opportunities for the other team to come back. Like, the only thing Fnatic could do in some of these situations was pick off Expect in the side lanes at the very end of the game. Yes, slightly due to the nature of their draft, but also due to almost the immaculate map play by G2 Esports. But it was just a joy to watch, like the lead up to some of these key decisions. The phases we talked about it all the time also were highlighted on the analyst test, because they were correctly identified as the 3 major moments and turning points in the game. We need to see if Fnatic solve some of their issues with more crowd control and maybe more forward gameplay, potentially either banning the Jhin or picking it up in first rotation themselves.
Well, we've got a few more bans to go and see if that's the case. The Azir is banned by G2 once again. They ban Olaf themselves this time, and Fnatic on red side with the Vladimir expected thus far.
Yeah, Fnatic stuck on red side. You have some mandatory bans like Vladimir and potentially Nidalee that you have to do. That's where you have to start dropping some of these kind of flavor bans like the Bard potentially. Or maybe even like comfort picks from last game. You know, in the best of series, you always want to hit on some champs that performed very well in the previous game and at least force the enemy team to go out of their comfort zone.
Yeah, well, if there's any team rather, that knows about adapting and playing best of series, it has got to be Fnatic. So much history there, so many games that they've got under their belt just across all the competition. And they say it themselves all the time. You watch Life of Legends, they say things like, you can't come into best of 2 without more than one strategy. You can't let yourself get down from a loss. Yes, be mad, but go ahead and get even the next time around.
Yep.
Karma's the last ban for G2 right now.
And if you're reckless, you can't come into any champ select without suave hair. Always,
that's very true as well.
Has that hair game on point. As we wait for the last ban, I just want to see what
it's a very valid thing, Crepo. It's great color casting, great
color casting there, yeah. The hairdo.
All right, so they leave the Nidalee open here. They're banning out Sivir. This should be a no-brainer pickup, and it is.
Interesting. Maybe, do they think Sivir lanes well into Jhin, because you can always kind of counteract one of the ultimate shots or one of the Ws, and they're going to pick up the Jhin early?
I think that might be the case. You know, Reckless was one of the first early evangelists of Jhin.
Also, Zen plays a mean Sivir pick just in general. He turns the tides in a lot of late game teamfights, and he adds mobility to this already kind of all over the place G2 roster. She's also really good as a kind of cornerstone in the 1-3-1 in the mid lane holding. So I think that ban kind of sticks, and now we need to see where Sven goes. If he goes for a slower Caitlyn, she doesn't fit in 1-3-1 style. I mean, actually, I like her in 1-3-1s, but she has less wave clear. But she's more on the back foot, because Caitlyn generally defends with her traps, as opposed to playing aggressively and looking for picks.
All right, well, with more of the junglers freed up right now, Spirit can go ahead and get his hands on an early game pressure as well in the form of the Elise. The timer ticks down, and I think you might be right here. To win, that's what Fnatic are thinking this game.
Yeah, Jhin lock-in plus Elise, really potent combination here, but that's what we talked about. Flavor bans like this Bard are suddenly falling out, and now Mythic can answer. And into low mobility AD carries in standard lanes, Bard can counteract a lot of the poke from Jhin, and if you hit level 6, he's such an easy target to get Tempered Fate on, and you can then just combo him down. Maybe even connect the spear here. So already a much more exciting early game coming on here. Hoping for standard lanes. Really hoping for standard lanes, because then some of these picks can really shine.
For G2, still contemplating what their next couple of picks are going to be. Obviously, we can expect those mid lanes to not be revealed until the very last minute, which means we might start looking at the top and the AD carry. But maybe I'm wrong, and maybe they do lock in the Rise. I doubt it, though.
I think they will. I mean, if he hovers it for this long, who knows? Because he's off the Zillion right now. Azir's out of the equation, and Victor doesn't seem to suit Push that much.
You're right.
Yeah, so I think he prefers going blind Rise, because again, G2 love playing 1-3-1. Like, it's their preferential style, and Victor, you can't play 1-3-1. Now Fnatic know that what they're up against. They're probably gonna leave top lane as their last counter pick and just lock something in mid here.
No reason not to for the time being, so you can get an advantageous matchup in just about every one of those. For Febivin, he of course sharing a lot of that champion pool. But, you know, a lot of it taken away. Azir, Vladimir, pretty much must bans against these two. Vladimir in general.
It's not Zed, it's between Victor and Swain. I honestly like to see a Swain. I think he could do decently well here. So much raw crowd control effects. Oh, no. Okay. Don't go for the cow. Don't do it.
He's asking.
No.
Can I play it?
No. Don't like Alistar here. But I think Yellowstar is kind of out of options.
And definitely having whittled away as the timer ticks down. They will in the last couple of seconds. Ooh, okay, just toying with us for a second. And he locks in the victor.
Yeah, so you can definitely see what his thought process is once he cycles through these picks. He wants something, you know, that packs a punch, that can maybe get some kill pressure on his rise, but he's like, nah, not sure. Victor, really good late game insurance in terms of team fights. Has a okay lane into rise, both actually just farm. Especially Cleanse Victor can get out of the snare then. I don't like Alistar, and I need to see how well Yellowstar performs in this Alistar. If he gets stuck in a standard lane, I fear they will just get out-laned 2v2.
Yeah, we haven't really seen a whole lot of Alistar as of late here in Europe, and Yellowstar pulling it out. I'm curious to see what plan they have in mind. Maybe they opt for the lane swap instead.
They almost must. We'll get more information once we see these top lane picks come out. Let's see what Sven opts in here for. It's either going to be Ashe or Caitlyn. The Kalista, however, is a bit of a troll. Likely to going to be Ashe since it's preferred over Caitlyn, I feel, for a player like Sven.
And the last couple of seconds tick down. They do, in fact, lock in the Gnar for Expect. That's a mean bit of damage on that team right now. Good mix of it, too.
And that means Febman has to switch to Cleanse now. If he goes just Exhaust Victor, he's going to be a sitting duck for all these ultimates coming at him. Look at the big potential on this Victor here. Bard, Ashe. Any members of G2 disappear into Fog of War, and Febman suddenly has to play in the back foot in the mid lane.
Well, he's definitely been on the up and up this split so far, but he's got himself a pretty big challenge, trying to bring his team back to 1-1 on this series and keep themselves in the dominating first place position. But it's only 1 point that separates these two teams, and it's about to change if they can't get themselves a victory here. What is that last lock in? What do they put Gamsu on right now?
I mean, at this point, you can't lock any melee matchups that get outlaned by Gnar. It's like Trundle kind of gets beaten. It will be maybe a Shen.
Oh,
okay.
Okay, we've seen this once before.
It's like that. This is a counter pick, so but you need to keep connecting your Qs. When Odoamne played it against Cabochard, and maybe Cabochard can shed some more light on it later on the desk. Cabochard kind of didn't carry on this matchup because he kept missing his Qs in lane and didn't go for the EQ combo. This matchup is all about landing EQ combo aggressively as Jarvan, but then you need to know where the enemy jungler is. Spirit has really good innate synergy with both bot lane and top lane too. Gang potential is incredibly high. He will get out-farmed by Nidalee if he doesn't stick any of these ganks though. So really interesting dynamics that we have going into these games. But super passive bot lane on the same side too. I still think this worries me because now Fnatic tells us with this draft, hey, I want to lane top 1v1. But their bot lane tells us that they want a lane swap because Jhin and Alistar should get absolutely murdered in the 2v2.
Well, either way, they make not the most optimal decision in that case, but we'll have to see if this Jarvan pick can definitely help save them out a little bit more. As the coaches shake hands for the final time today, will Fnatic prevail? Will they get themselves another win or one win to even up this series, or is G2 going to take that very, very dominating 2-0?
Yeah, I'm having issues adding it all up here.
The math is hard on broadcast. I know about that.
It's not about. It's just about all these matchups and how they interact. And I wonder where Spirit is gonna spend his time. He's gonna look to equalize the bot lane. Am I overrating Ashe Bard into Jhin Alistar? Is the camp from Spirit and Gamsu enough to put Expect in a dumpster and then have Fnatic play passive on the bot lane? Something they've done in the past. There's so many questions here that we need answering on.
All these questions and more. They're about to be answered as we load up onto the Rift. It's game 2. It's G2. It's Fnatic. The two best teams in Europe. Let's hear it one more time. Who's going to take this victory? A big welcome to Summoner's Rift. The crowd beats out a nice rhythm there. Reckless and Sven will find each other.
Alright, we can get into what these comps need to do in the mid game later on. Let's just focus on some of the particular matchups here. Keep track. Really good deep board here by Mitty because he saw the poke come out on Reckless. So now they have information on Gromp, which is always key in some of these melee support matchups. You want to accelerate any champion to level 2.
At least Gamsu's got the right skin.
Sven is on a ward, so now Fnatic have info. More info than, honestly, G2 have right now, and it does look like lane swap. Yep.
Give themselves a little bit of breathing space here. So, Gamsu, obviously he won't be taking the 1v1 for a while, but when you get those long lanes, I guess it still functions that way. So you know, we could start to see this game start to turn in that favor, but it's all the gamble. So you can pull off.
It's a good ward here. Look at the bottom of your screen. It's about to fade. The ward that Sven is on right now. Honestly, it gave Fnatic all the information for the lane swap. I don't think G2 was aware of that ward being placed. And they aggressively move in here into the enemy jungle as a 4-man squad too. So look at where Spirit's starting deep into the enemy jungle here. So this is honestly the perfect lane swap start here for Fnatic. So they take a really good opening here.
Spirit Gamsu get the double jungle on, they'll clear away the blue, and the jungle, the map itself, it gets divided down that mid lane right now.
And that's the risk of going for that delayed invade on Gromp in this matchup here. Now Mythy is looking to mimic something a lot of counter players do. Bard is also fantastic as a champion to come up behind it, because Fevin needs to path into the left side of the lane. This is the right escape path. If you go down, you will have to use your flash.
Yeah. Speaking of Fevin too, he didn't end up swapping on his summoner. He's still rocking the exhaust right now. He might be a very juicy target come those skirmishes, come those fights. For both these teams, but Perkz taking a little bit of damage, poke in the mid lane. It's obviously just a few love taps, and we get ourselves into the fast push.
Better champions still on the side of G2, although it's very minor. Honestly, I guess Gamsu can give everybody attack speed with his flag, starting the correct spell for lane swap. It's these little things, but might as well analyze them because nothing else is going on.
Well, these are two teams that play at such a high level. The little mistakes, the little differences, that's what makes the difference. It's what you were talking about with the lane swap oopsie that happened last game from Gamsu.
Yeah, that was a major mistake. So you either analyze how the speed is influenced by some of the key champion choices, or you talk about Game of Thrones and Star Wars. That's all you can do as a color caster in a lane swap. I mean,
got two functions.
Two functions, yeah. We got a binary tree here.
All right, well, the decision is telling me right now that the towers are going to get traded. That's my color casting.
Fantastic.
I know. Well,
and who got the gold, Pyra?
I think the top laner.
Top laner.
Yeah.
All the gold, both of these.
Excellent.
This time, slightly quicker on the draw on the side of G2, as we expected, given their champion choices.
All right, so we'll get into those long lanes, and we'll see if Gamsu recovers from that mistake he made last game around. This time, Drake is way less of an early liability because you've got the Cloud coming up first.
So this is the difference here. Gamsu is slow right now. In last game, Gamsu was pushing right now, just to indicate to people, viewers were asking me what went wrong. Now Mythy passes on the ward. Now Gamsu has the, honestly, permission to push, but they're going for the, honestly, a reverse cheese here. Support wants to zone off the enemy top laner here, but look at where jungler is. It almost worked. Spirit almost managed to get in time into that rush, because every time a support wants to zone off the enemy top laner, he will go hyper aggressive. And this looks a little dumb here from Fnatic now, but this was almost a beautiful cheese. And Mythy could have straight up died there if Spirit was just 2 seconds quicker. Now Yellow starts coming around, and this is an aggressive punish and adaptation with no Bard Q available here. Did Mythy skill Portal level 2?
Oh, yes, he did! He flashed it! There's the magical journey. Yellowstar follows through. That's a long one, and in comes Spirit, but they turn their attention to Sven, and he's desperately trying to out-trade and flash into that portal. He gets knocked up, but in comes Expect. Summoner heal, and that's first blood over to Expect.
Oh, we have to talk about all this again. Let's see how it plays out. Spirit,
that's going to be a 2-for-1
kill, but Expect comes in here with another really good reactionary teleport.
And flash! Oh,
he's dead.
Oh no, Spirit!
3-for-1 G2 Esports! And this play gets turned upside down here. I love the initiative from Fnatic, but it was too disjointed. They need to strike immediately. They need the element of surprise. So Spirit should have been in that brush, cocoon Mythy, and suddenly he's like, oh my god, why is the jungler here? But G2 had too much time playing that out, and the beautiful flash from Mythy. Also, he skilled Portal level 2 in the lane swap. Most bars in lane skill health pack level 2. That's again a minor adaptation that you never see punished, but here it is. Yeah, Yellowstar. You can't go for the combo. You just have to play zone control. You need to wait until maybe Mythy walks up to a wall, and then you need to Q flash. If you W, it's too telegraphed. Any good player can actually flash a W traveling on land. And, I mean, you have to call it out. If you go at Mythy, I don't think you can open with W. You always have to Q flash and pray that you're quicker and that you don't get red. And then Trick comes in here. Teleport from Expect was on point. And suddenly this play from Fnatic, they committed to it. It failed in the setup where Spirit was revealed, but they kept committed to it afterwards, and G2 beautifully turned it around. Also the presence of mind for Sven. Not to even flash, he was just winning. He knew Expect was coming, used the heal, and suddenly Fnatic find themselves 1.5k gold, and now a tower behind.
Yeah, and a lot of that gold sitting in the pocket of Expect as well. keep hitting that theme of starved top laners. Well, it's definitely not been the case for G2.
600 gold ahead right now, Pyro. This is massive. This is almost a game over. Fnatic really need to look for an aggressive pick.
Well, Fnatic on the back foot yet again this time. G2 really showing up and showing that they can predict, they can adapt. Before Fnatic even makes some of these moves, it's been troubling for them to deal with the raw power and the quick decision-making that G2 have. Well, let's take a look at this one again. What happened in the mid lane? Febivin, well, he kind of got jumped on. This wasn't quite enough damage right in the beginning, but they did manage to polish him off, by the way. So even more gold on the side of G2.
Yeah.
Merc's grabbing it.
Even more gold here. Febivin dropping too. So, just getting worse here. And now Trick is spiraling ahead too. Keep track of the levels here, because we only watch gold, but Trick 6 to Spirits 5. Expect 4, but with a massive gold advantage. To Gamsu's 4, relatively even in experience. Perks is in the game too. And Sven and Mythi, doing well for themselves as well. Remember, they only get online on level 6. Ash Arrow and Tempered Fate really good at catching out any of these Jhin and Victor picks.
It's a dangerous game Fnatic are playing right now. Trying to keep the waves at bay here. Sven and Mythi pushing it in with impunity. They know that Fnatic can't bring up anything around the rear. The vision game fairly strong for them right now.
And Alistar from behind is almost impossible to play. I mean, look at EULCS1, level 3 Moby Boots, that's all he has. And if he goes for a combo, his flash isn't cooldown right now. It'll be super telegraphed, you can always portal out, and people can just flash it. And that's the problem with Alistar, with the cooldown reduction boots. I mean, the summoner cooldown being removed, the distortion enchant. Alistar actually went down a lot in value because he needed that flash every 3 minutes. Every 5 minutes, it's just simply not enough.
Yeah, this is why we're not seeing very much of it, but Yellowstar, he took the gamble. It's not paid off for him, and they find themselves down. 2,000 gold difference is huge, and G2, look at this. They're not even, there's nobody pushing on the mid.
Yeah, it's push bot collapse mid, because they sent Victor to base here, and they're losing that window. Fnatic's looking for a desperate collapse here. Yellowstar almost has flash, so Fnatic right now, they want to go for flash combo into flash flag and drag, because Gamsu pushed in top, and he can't really hold there against Expect.
Oh boy, it's not good when you're already trying to make desperate plays at 8.5 minutes. Perks having absolutely no trouble now, getting a lot more farm up on Febivin as things are rolling on forward. Trick doing the same to Spirit in this jungle, and they're starting to control the map, control the pace of the game yet again.
This matchup is so crucial, and it relies on Gamsu being able to use his kit to get ahead of the Gnar. Now that Expect has a gold lead, he can really counteract a lot of this all-in potential, this poke potential with Gamsu. Gamsu will get out-traded. Gnar went to the roughest part of the matchup too, which is 1-5. Level 7 plus Gnar can beat most melee matchups, and now also he will just have the confidence. Expect is definitely being catered towards more in this series. One time by choice, and this time by a really good communicated TP.
Fnatic grouping here on this top side. They're looking to try and collapse on Expect.
Yeah, look, they're looking for double flash here.
Dive.
But look at how desperate this move is, When support is at enemy tier 2 looking for a flash dive, Reckless is pathing over.
Oh, they know.
They saw him, like, it's so telegraphed, it's so obvious. Hopefully G2 learns, communicates, and Expect plays back.
Communication definitely not an issue on G2 side right now. Fnatic are going to go ahead and 4-man push this bottom side.
Good move, good move. Just keep trading. If you're behind, you want to keep trading evenly to make that gold advantage relatively less impactful, If it stays at 2k gold for the rest of the game, great. By 30k gold each, it's slightly irrelevant. The problem is G2 is picking away both mid lane and bot lane at the same time.
Yeah, right now they're going to lose this outer here. If G2 can grab another tower in the bottom, that can give them an even more valuable trade, but for the time being, it's just going to be that mid. It's actually a long time for Fnatic to really take this back, and that's free damage that Sven's getting, really doubling up in value here.
Yep.
That's going to be enough for the tower.
Focus fire on that tower. They did a good job bouncing the wave on the bottom lane, but Expect's already there catching it. Yeah, and a 1-for-2 tower trade here, plus the map, plus the vision in between. Exit stage left in the portal, if needed. Satisfying sound effect.
I can imagine for you especially. It's 10 minutes. This is a huge lead already for G2. No one needs to really bother about the Cloud Drake, but G2 can take whatever they want at their leisure. They may have lost an inner tower on the top side, but they're not too concerned about it. Expect is more than capable of holding it. The Black Cleaver build this time coming in for him. Yeah, it's...
Imagine if you're Jarvan.
It's 11.
Like, guys, give it to me. I got the secret weapon. Jarvan counterpick. And then you look at 11 minutes. Ah, damn it. Enemy has Black Cleaver. Can we open?
All right, well, here he comes. They're going to try to collapse. He's bringing some friends. He's bringing Spirit at least. But that's a pretty big minion wave as well, and Expect's got a pretty healthy Nard bar.
Yeah, Expect doesn't care. He sees Yellow Star in the bottom lane, which means he's safe, because he can almost 1v2. And Mythi's shadowing. Look, Mythi knows that the only gank that's going to come is top lane, because nobody's going to gank mid lane. Nobody's going to gank this Ryze, who's lonesome, fully covered in wards in the bot lane. So by process of elimination, Mythi's only job is to keep his top laner safe.
All right, well, I see you've done your homework. Now, you got any more of those Game of Thrones references?
It doesn't work if you're obvious about them, Pyra.
Hey, man, you brought it up earlier. All right. Yeah, this is just textbook, though. G2, I mean, they ran a clinic last game in 40 minutes on Fnatic, and they're doing it again. Yellow Star desperately trying to head down. It's so crazy to see them do this to a team that, A, is currently sitting in first place.
Fnatic dug themselves their own hole, you know? They went for a really nice play. I like it. It's cheeky. If Spirit's in the brush, it works. If he's not in the brush, sometimes you gotta be ready to abort mission.
Yeah, but this is the power of G2, to force decisions that aren't very optimal, or at least to force you into, into a bad decision.
To punish you once your good decision turns bad. Like any good decision can turn bad if you wait long enough. There's like Gams staying here could turn bad, but he makes the quick decision.
Yeah, well, it's all about using the EQ combo.
Look at him. Presses E, presses Q, flags and drags.
And it's going to be another tower, though, for G2. I mean, they're losing ground rapidly on the side of Fnatic here. The gold just keeps on flowing. And G2 Esports, again, they do not have to fight. They do not have to engage at all. They can just keep the pressure coming. And Fnatic, they just don't react in time. There's nothing they can really do here to get back into this game, barring forcing a big fight, a big catch. They don't seem to have the tools to do it either. Well, it's just not happening right now for Fnatic. And time seems to be running out. The team, they'll definitely have to take a good hard look at this series, no matter how it shakes out.
Yeah, it's looking like a three-pointer here. And I like the progression from G2. I mean, coming into the series, one of their issues was Expect not being, like, communicating with the team in crucial mid-game decisions. We've had accelerated mid-games where G2 was playing from ahead, so we can't really be conclusive about them having solved that issue, but there's groundwork being done.
Well, we've heard a little bit from some of the G2 players about the work they're doing on that. A couple weeks ago, Sven, he had an interview, said, hey, look, Expect may not speak that much, but he's talking, or rather he's understanding just about everything, and he's working on all these words that he's not quite confident in. Young's sitting with him every night. Yeah, there you go. It's a common thing here, if you're not a native English speaker, I suppose.
We have vocal coaching.
We do.
Apparently I mispronounce a lot of words.
That's okay. It's what makes you unique, Crepo.
It's a TH sound. So if I start talking about dough instead of dough, that's when I'm not a rapper,
I will keep that in mind.
Not talking about the mad dough. I'm also not a baker.
You're killing me here. But yeah, G2, I mean, you can see the work that they're putting in paying off in this week right now. They've clearly brought their A-game.
I mean, we have nothing left to talk about, Pyra. This is where we fill and hope that everybody is entertained during the cast, because G2, they take one big chunk out of Fnatic, they punish one play, and then they play the map, and that is top tier League of Legends, because teams have gotten so good at knowing how to close out games, and Fnatic, from behind, with this draft again, things like Alistar from behind just simply don't work, because it's a shotgun approach, and it's too obvious to dodge for G2. Like, you need multiple champions. If you have like a Bard or maybe a CDR boots Fleship, it would still exist, to kind of find some opening and hooks here. But G2 can always react here. They're too far ahead, and they're so good at playing the league too.
So good at playing when ahead, and they just put themselves into this situation constantly. Next Drake's going to be Infernal as well. Obviously, the Dragons haven't played out as a very important role with the Cloud being the first one that's hit the Rift, but it's just now with this Infernal that'll eventually come up, it's even more for G2 to just easily take away. There's no in for Fnatic. They just can't find any way to get a pick off. I mean, Spirit didn't have the impact he needed early on. There's the Jhin ulti. Reckless is going to try to get a zone away, but
still have Arrow, still have all the flash.
You've got everything.
They still have a magical journey.
Several, in fact. Oh, there's Tempered Fate. It's going to land onto Spirit, and in comes the arrow. It's going to hit him right in the back after the Nidalee Spear. And Fnatic are running scared. Meanwhile, Perkz
sold gas in the top lane. I didn't even know what that counter engage was from G2. Honestly, it wasn't the best. It worked somewhat, but none of their teleporters was actually in a position to teleport in. So, that's a mistake. We can fault them for that.
There you go.
They could have killed more people.
It's a mistake. The team that is currently sitting 5,000 gold in the lead, 5-1. All
right.
Let's take a look at what happened.
So I asked for this replay again.
Earlier.
Usually we don't go back this far in time. The point where it fails is obviously here. Beautiful flash from Mythi. Replay should have actually started much sooner. This is the follow-up of the play that failed. Miffy baits 2 people into Portal 2 and everybody ignores Sven. The presence of mind for him to just keep whittling down Gamsu here. He doesn't even have to flash the EQ combo because he knows Expect is coming in. And everybody took the magical journey trying to focus on Miffy. But the start of this play was this burst on the top of your screen here. The first top lane burst. That's what Spirit was trying to enter to then kill Miffy, who was going to zone off Gamsu from the wave. The second he was spotted on that Elise, they should have called off the play, but they overcommitted into a play that must have worked a ton of times in scrims. But nobody kind of punished them on that, and that's why they kept committing to it. But they weren't ready for, honestly, a really good flash from Miffy, and then the portal on level 2. It changed too many kind of factors, too many variables in that play, and suddenly Fnatic didn't have the adaptation in mind. And that single play honestly snowballed the entire game.
I mean, it's the same story as what happened last time with the lane swap mistake. You can't afford to make these kind of plays and make these errors against a team like G2 Esports. They punish every single time, and you know, again, the form that they're on, it's incredible to see them on this level because it just didn't look like that last week.
No, it's completely different G2 here. But again, they can make changes a lot more quicker than other teams because they have just raw talent.
And, you know the old saying, lose is improve. It's definitely the case. G2 had a 1-1 on both their series the last week, and they came in ready to really turn that right around and reclaim the top spot. Remember, this is the defending champions of Europe so far, which is a title usually reserved for Fnatic.
Perks, flash. Nope.
Okay, Room Prisons instead. Oh, he stopped.
That was not a failed combo from
Wait a minute.
Star.
He's going.
No, he's dead.
Yeah.
Let's just...
I want to see what went to.
Rip Perkovic, that was a mistake. That was not a failed combo by Yellowstar.
No.
Okay, everybody stop fighting. That was not a failed combo from Yellowstar because the correct play is to W and respect your opponent to be smart enough to flash, but Perk's flash was down. So Yellowstar wanted to W and then Q flash after Perks, but he wasn't communicated that Perk's flash apparently was down in the earlier fight versus Gamsu. So if Perks' flash was down and was communicated, then it was a failed combo from Yellowstar.
Yeah.
Because nothing's happening, we have time to go into support, you know, finer mechanics. Because again, sadly, that's how you have to play Alistar at the highest level now. You have to W in and predict that they're so good that they're going to flash it, and then Q flash after them.
I love it when you talk nerdy to me.
Do you?
In games like these, nothing better. All right.
Let's get dinner then, Pyra. Talk nerds you all night.
As
long as you pay for dinner.
We still got catering, right? Does that count?
Gonna get me currywurst? You got me
hey man, it's a Berlin
bloody cold currywurst? That's what you're getting me?
Oh god, Spirit.
I'm giving you my darkest, deepest support, tricks, and tips, and I only get cold currywurst from catering.
Tell you
which
what,
is fantastic,
I'll heat it
by
up
the way.
for you.
Great, fuck.
All right, so let's take a look at the catch on Perks, and here's what you're talking about with the flash, right?
Yeah, so here technically Perks with flash, and then Yellowstar with Q flash after. Perks obviously does not have flash. So one begs the question, what is Perks doing there? And this is why we, or by we, obviously I mean myself, I don't like Perks on Rise as much because he keeps getting caught in side lanes every game.
Yeah, I just smile and nod, by the way.
That's your role. I would say, we talked about this.
Like
Pyrai goes like, yeah, we did.
I remember this talk. All right, so it's 20 minutes in, but like the stranglehold just keeps getting deeper and deeper right now. Fnatic, I mean, obviously this game is a lost cause for them, but what is the slimmest thing that they can do? What can they actually find here to try to get
Exactly
back
what
to
they do right there. On cooldown, every Jhin ultimate, they fire on somebody holding a side lane. They slow him down and make sure he can't TP out. And then they close the gap with Moby Boots Alistar. Or maybe a Flash Cocoon. And that's what G2 need to learn to do better. Is because this game they don't have double side stone, so their 1-3-1 is significantly weaker vision-wise, which leads to people getting caught out. I like Zillion in the 1-3-1 a lot more because Perks has speed up. Perks with Zillion would have not died there.
Oh!
Now Reckless gets a spear.
Oh, and he is just evaporated. That is a whole lot of damage, and they stop him for a second. Tempered Fate, Trick, flashing away. Big Gnar stomps on the Goombas. It's Yellowstar and Febivin that are going down, and one misstep. Huge punishment. Yellowstar flashes away, but that's gonna be in hip towers.
That was sexy, you know, combo meter is 100% right there. Trick's going down, you know, Temper Fate on 3 members plus his own jungler. Trick flashes out, double Cosmic Binding into the alley-oop, dunk from Expected to the side like wall, and then the follow-up from G2. That was just utter annihilation here on the side of Fnatic.
Yeah, 20-minute inhibitor after that. Big combo for them. They grab anything they want on the map. Fnatic overstepping their bounds just a little bit, and G2 slapping them back into place. That's going to be Infernal Dragon. Death timer is a little bit too low for G2 to try and push in to finish this game off just yet, but they're looking like that's the foregone conclusion.
Yeah. Love me some bar combos.
Finally get to play-by-play something, Krefl.
Yep. Almost stole it from you. Going on a rant.
I'm glad you let up on the gas.
Get off my property. This is my world. Stuff's going on, I have to shout.
So you're like the guy who's yelling, kids get off my lawn. In this case, the lawn is lane swap.
Well, yeah, that's my lane swap lawn.
Excellent. All right,
Now
let's
here,
take a
now
look
this
at this
is my
again.
turn. Look, that's just, sometimes you gotta let a play breathe, and just a double combo, spear, look at it. 1 layer, 2 layers, 3 layers of CC, another spear.
That Narhawk was dirty, man.
Yep, it's just,
They exhaust perks, and he's like, I don't care.
this is mid-T player of the game. So all those bindings landing, fantastic. Because I know we're gonna get buzzed by our stats guys, like, guys, do you have your Pog? That Pog is player of the game.
Yes.
And for me, it's Mithy. Those bindings, man.
Honestly, like, his Bard play has been pretty fantastic across the board. But nobody on... Okay, I say nobody. There have been, like, as you said, a few small mistakes on the side of G2. But in this entire series, in all honesty, we haven't seen a lot of individual mistakes outside of maybe Trick getting caught, or Perks getting...
Yeah.
Except for Expect getting caught a little bit last game.
Both.
This game?
Both Expect and Perks.
And Perks now, yeah. Like, and it's one time. Okay, Mithy does face tank.
No, that's a calculated risk, because he knows he has backup.
Oh, okay.
Spirit hops over the arrow.
That's fine, though. Like, it's a low enough cooldown for them to just keep on pushing in. You've got Expect. They have the 4-1. They keep on roving through the jungle. I mean, Fnatic are... They're not blind. They've got a few wards down, but, I mean, look at what G2 have got here. There's just no ground they can really run to.
Yeah, they're just isolating the Baron right now. Spirit, knowing that those spiders have many more knees than just a functional human being, so he definitely needs to dodge that arrow. And he hops over, and now is just waiting for the face check.
Oh, and they get it. There's a good combo, but in comes Trick to try and turn the damage around. They just don't have any. Teleport here. Desperation time for Fnatic. In comes Gamsu, but Perks has already taken out Yellowstar. Flag and drag, and into the chains they go. And that's not going to be nearly enough to take out anybody except for Perks. Last tick of the Chaos Storm. Febivin, nearly untouched, but Expect starts to instantly turn that around and chase down not 1, not 2, but 3 members of Fnatic. Expect just going wild, and now Spirit tanking the spear, Trick hops on him, and that arrow isn't even needed. Big fight for G2, big cleanup.
Expect goes mental, 1v3 on the backline here with this Gnar. I really like the Jar and Victor combo if it works. It kind of goes from a Chaos Storm to a Chaos Pit. Everybody's stuck into these walls, taking the inevitable storm damage that ticks every 2 seconds. And it worked, but there simply wasn't enough damage. We saw the new Alistar too, post-nerf. Yeah, you punch your ultimate, you're no longer invincible. Yellowstar dropped like a hot knife to butter, and then the cleanup came from Expect.
Yeah, I definitely liked the Chaos Dunk, but it just wasn't enough damage, like you said. They've been too far behind, and you can see they were 1v2 for a minute, and that's about it.
Yeah, Exhaust comes out. Yellowstar here, that's
your tankiest member, by the way.
And then here, Chaos Dunk, as you said, really beautiful, but if this happens on an even game, this is like a game-winning play, but it's not enough because Expect's like, guys, I'm a fed top laner, despite early lane stop shenanigans.
Yep. And then they run away from the Gnar.
And he goes for the flash finish here as he goes into Mega Gnar. Beautiful.
Yeah, scoops him right into the wall, and then Spirit's pretty much left hanging, and yeah, it's all cleanup crew for G2 here. They definitely know how to take a game to its logical conclusion. So they isolate out the Baron, easy peasy. They don't even need to take it right now because they keep on chasing. It's only 24.5 minutes in, remember. This is a 9,000 gold lead. It's just been snowballing out of control since that early game.
They know the only way they can throw is through Baron, so they need the perfect setup. They have like 10,000 gold that they can spend securing the Baron, which they can do inefficiently, and then if they still get it, they'll still win the game because of the position of the map.
You know, what's really important for G2, though, and obviously these 2 games, it's probably hard to demonstrate some of these weaknesses, but we always have been criticizing them for being just a smidgen over-aggressive sometimes. Somebody flashing, trying to get the quick cleanup kill. They've controlled their aggression so well these 2 games, and it's been so calculated. This is the goal. This was what they were striving for. We're seeing it here. This is a team that has gone Super Saiyan.
Yeah. And Tricks, which Super Saiyan though? Early in the series when they're playing weak opponents, or later?
I think it's like somewhere between 1 and 2, so the hair just keeps growing right now.
Yeah, right.
He's caught, but he's got a magical journey. It's gonna stop the Baron, but look, they didn't even need to finish it. Febivin, he's caught on the Tempered Fate. They chain it in. The Chaos Storm comes, but that's not anything that they needed. Expect, he's still 1v3ing. They turn to Reckless, pounce on him, a double kill over to Trick, and it's Yellowstar's turn to fall. A triple kill for the Kitty Cat. And that's going to be base.
In terms of like blonde hair length, I was going to ask you, is it Reckless level of Super Saiyan? But this looks like a Nuke Duck level of Super Saiyan from G2 Esports here. Complete domination. I got one tweet saying, Grepo, it was a 14-minute game. This wasn't domination in game 1. Well, guess what? This one is G2 just towering at shoulders above Fnatic. based all on that first play, and then super clean map play gets them 2 inhibitors and full access to the Baron.
12,000 gold, 8 towers to 3. They've taken every objective in the game, given so few away. Fnatic have nowhere to run. G2, it's a matter of time before they come knocking.
Yeah, and while this is such a sweep, it's very easy to identify the key moments in both these games. So the replay analysis for Fnatic will honestly be rather swift. There's 3 phases in game 1, and then there's 1 phase in game 2, and that's it, done. So at least they know where to look for their faults. For G2, they also know where to refine their strategy. They really need to be more careful here being picked off, and also they need to stop relying on individually outplaying opponents in some of these skirmishes too. Here we saw the engage on Mithy, but he can still get into a portal despite being denied once. Then Fevin just the very end, and then yeah, the chain CC comes out.
Meanwhile, Expect.
Yup, Expect is.
I mean, he demands so much pressure at this point. Like, this Gnar play is ridiculous. Yes, they're ahead, but I mean, come on, he keeps getting the multi-bops.
Now, obviously, G2 Esports is looking at potentially going to Worlds, obviously given the amount of circuit points that they've gathered, etc. And they need to stop relying on just individually outplaying opponents too, and look more for these like really efficient macro plays. Because if you get to the highest level, honestly, when you play the likes of SKT, etc., they're gonna match you in individual skill, and then obviously strategy is required.
Yep. He lost the Baron. That's step 1, though, is getting that LCS title once again. Sven and Mithy joining this team, trying to get their first LCS title, but they can beat the old kings of Europe and keep the dominance going. It looks like that is going to be the case, and it has never looked so easy. Taking out Yellowstar, chasing Spirit. He might have 8 legs, but he's not running fast enough.
Yeah. But it's just an unfair battle at this point for Fnatic. They're like fighting with the kid sword.
Oh.
If you ever played the Legend of Zelda games, like the first free little sword that you get, that's what Fnatic's wielding right now, and G2 has got the upgraded Master Sword.
Yeah.
It's not really fair. 12,000 gold lead at 28 minutes is something.
They've been collecting rupees while they go, too.
Yeah.
That's
they have a 6th member worth in gold right now.
Jeez.
G2 Esports.
Yeah, they're not lacking for money, and this Baron will start to put the final nail in the coffin. 28 minutes and down it goes since nobody there to contest. Super minions in 2 lanes here for Fnatic to desperately deal with as they start knocking down the towers. Keep on flowing, and G2, they can take their time and scenically roll through the Summoner's Rift before finishing this victory.
Yeah, they can look at some of the wonders that we've put into this game. They can pass by the frog that our observers so frantically obsessed about.
And the owls.
And the owls, honestly.
It's a Harry Potter menagerie in here.
Honestly, a bit too much at times. It's a little scary how much Kevin loves his owl. Hey.
Yeah.
Let's watch this again.
Yeah.
Before we get into owl business.
I was going to talk about observers being trolls. This is more important.
Yeah. Zoning ultimate from Mithy. That's what we call them.
Yeah.
As you missed, no. I was simply moving the enemy forward into the fight with the ultimate. Expect, turns out that Gnar can get pretty tanky. And yeah, chase happens, and then look at Victor, he's there. Eventually, I don't think he will be there anymore. Do they actually kill him this fight? Yeah, portal comes over. Fevin drastically trying to wave clear. Exhaust the flash on perks. Guess what? Fevin drops 2. It's too easy right now.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing is like, neither team really would know what happens in the scrim because this is at a point where you open mid.
This is where you say like GG well played, go next.
Yeah. So it's it's 30 minutes. I mean, this is just the slow march in. Fnatic, they know they've lost so much ground. We might see one blast before the end.
Yeah.
Gamsu EQs, he's gonna get knocked by the arrow though, and there's a big Gnar. He's gonna go golden for a second, and the Fnatic members start to drop. Yellowstar going first. Sven takes him out. Gamsu goes for the dunk. The Chaos Storm, not enough damage, and they want to pad those stats, but that's Inhibitor. And G2 Esports 2-0 clinic on Fnatic.
Yeah, that phase where those 3 inhibitors were down at the very end. Fnatic, vying for the throne, but if that was a wedding, the Reigns of Castamere would start playing right there. Sadly, swift end to Fnatic's chances in this series. Honestly, beautiful 2-0 here from G2. At least Spirit can still smile. That's what I love about that guy. He's always smiling. Fnatic taking it, honestly, reasonably well.
You have to take a loss like that in stride, even if there's not a whole lot you can do. Fnatic are definitely the kings of coming back and looking stronger week to week.
I hope no fans watch this and is like, why are they smiling? They're not taking it serious. At one point, you've got outclassed and you got to go back to the drawing board. As a player that always used to get angry after losses, like I would always rage at myself after a loss, and I would be so upset that my teammates would never be equally upset, you know, because how can they not care enough? It is the wrong mentality. I think it's great to see that Fnatic here, honestly, take it with a smile. They know where they messed up. They can easily identify these mistakes, and they know exactly what they need to fix for next week. Hopefully, they start fixing it.
And it's better now than playoffs. I mean, Fnatic as a team, they know that this kind of loss you can learn quite a bit from, about yourself, about your opponents. Lose is improve. But for now,
You have been playing a lot of solo queues.
just enough.
And that's quite sadly, that's one of the only phrases that you can actually put on broadcast.
Yeah.
That you hear all the time in solo queue.
Yeah, you do hear a lot of things that you're not allowed to say on broadcast. Yeah.
Don't
I'm not
think
gonna-
about the
I'm
other
not going to go
phrases.
into the other ones. Don't jinx me on this. But yeah, Fnatic, they can definitely take a lot away from that. But for G2, they can go back and be very happy with the fact that they systematically demolished their biggest competition in Europe today.
Yeah, and now this is where G2 is kind of, why did we lose points to these teams? Why did we lose these series last few weeks?
Yeah.
But honestly,
Back on top.
At the end of, honestly, the first half of the split, remember we were approaching...
We're officially halfway.
Yeah, we're officially halfway right now, and every team has played every team once. G2 is at the top, and that's what they wanted.
That's kind of what we expected. I mean, there were a few stumbling blocks, but we started to see these teams that have really got their stuff together, climbing back into it. Fnatic, you know, really challenging for that second spot. Clearly couldn't really match up to what G2 were doing today.
No.
But this is G2 at, I don't know if it's their cap, but it's clearly at something that is nothing anyone else in your computer.
Gotta hold your horses here, FLICKR.
Yeah.
Both these games were decided by very early, like, lane swap kind of shifts out of the mold. Both aggressively by G2 punishing Gams in the first game, and then Fnatic going for a kind of, whoa, what is this play in the second game that backfired. So
yeah. All right.
No sweeping statements.
We're gonna have a while before we get to see them play again. But that was that was very strong performance from
see.
G2. Now for more on that series win, we're gonna go and set it down to Sifu standing by with Mithy.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Mithy, commanding 2-0 coming in for you guys. What went right for you guys this week?
We practiced lane swap and learned a bit more English. So, and just like not really. I mean, yes, he learned more English, but also like he learned so much about like wave control and how we play the map and everything. Like we really focused on it for last week and this week, and it kind of showed that we have been working on it. So.
Yeah, I think showed very well in that game too. Obviously, some great NAR plays coming in from him. You guys really seemed to struggle in the previous week. Would you say that your victory this week is just because of that improvement in communication?
Well, every game we lost last week was a lane swap game. So that has something to do with it. I think me and Sven are good 2v2, Expect is doing good, and our mid and jungle is, well, they were MVPs last split. So our 2v2 game is strong, but our lane swap was slacking. A lot to do because of just lack of practice and also the communication issues and wave control and so on. And we worked on that for 2 weeks, and we kind of did a good job today. We will see tomorrow. OG is also very strong at lane swapping.
Yeah, overall, of course, with lane swapping steadily improving, is that going to continue to be your focus moving forward in practice? What do you think is the biggest weakness for G2 right now? What do you think you need to improve the most?
Well, we just look at our weaknesses, right? So we felt our 2v2 was very good. We were winning every scrim. We were playing 1v1 and 2v2. So we just realized that our lane swap was horrific, and we just worked on that. And we're kind of like patching that flaw for now. Still, I think it still needs some work. I think Fnatic screwed up and tried something new on the second game. So I think we should still work on our lane swap a bit more and just try to lose games in LCS and use those games to realize, okay, this is the mistake we made. This is what we're bad at. So let's try to focus on this for this week's scrims and kind of just patch up, and just try to be the best team we can be.
Of course, focusing on adapting sounds like a solid strategy. Well, thank you so much for talking to me. And of course, congrats again on taking the 2 over Fnatic. It's going to do it for us here. We're going to hand it on over to the analyst desk to break down that game even further.
Thank you, Sifan. Welcome, everybody, to the post-game lobby where Vitaly's Cableshard is sticking around. A nice post-game interview there with Mithy. We should try to lose some games in the LCS so we can improve. Okay?
I mean, technically, you do learn more when you lose. That's why Vitality's strategy coming into this split is to lose a lot, right?
Exactly.
To learn and improve. I mean, to be fair, if you win every game, you actually don't learn that much from every game you play. But if you do lose from time to time, you can actually learn a lot.
That's why there's so many ties. They won the first game, and then
So now we
teams
can
are
lose
like,
the second
we
one.
absolutely have
learn.
to lose.
Yeah.
Well, there was one thing to take away actually from the interview that Mithy was maybe a little more serious on, and that was improving on the lane swap. We saw out of game 1 there was an improved set of plays. Whether it was expect and the English getting better that Mithy was talking about, I guess he'll be on the analyst desk next if his English is improved. But it was a good set of plays out by G2 in the early game. Hey, I read Reddit. I'm just getting the easy jokes
But let's
out
ask
there.
Kabashard here, top laner, about Expect's development. Have you noticed an improvement of him personally, and then how he plays with the team, G2?
Yeah, for sure. I think if you watch Expect like from solo queue games earlier this season, or like even in team, I think he's playing better and better. And like I think G2 is setting him up like really well as well. So like it's really good for them.
How is he compared to Kikis when you play him in solo queue? Like, is he mechanically better or is it the same?
I haven't played like Kikis lately, I think, but Expect was worse, I think, at the start of the split. And like I think he's like a really good mentality, and he's getting better and better. And, like he's gonna come to a point like in a few weeks that he's like better and he can go even further.
All right, well, we had a lot of games to talk about. I do want to stay on Fnatic versus G2 still for a little bit, and specifically game number 2, because it was in Fnatic's hands to having to turn it around, but it went bad straight from the start for Fnatic.
Yeah, it was obviously a lane swap again, and Mithy talked about how they worked a lot on lane swaps. I feel like, especially in this game, I mean, we have the replay of that first engage up in the top lane. To me, it's like Fnatic playing such a risky style here. They're trying to snowball Gamsu by sending Yellowstar to sneak up on top side and then gank with Spirit. The problem is now, first of all, you don't know where the enemy jungler is, and second of all, there's a TP from the enemy top laner. So this will always end up in a 4v3 at some point. And I feel like they just invest everything to try and burst someone down. And I also think Yellowstar should never flash headbutt there, because that means you can flash it and then he can't kill
So
you.
the problem is that he was able to headbutt because you didn't like Alistar whatsoever.
No, I just think Alistar is not a strong pick right now, but he also completely misplayed that little engage here. And we were talking about how risky this play is from Fnatic, and technically right there, the game is over.
I think pretty much, yeah, maybe they felt like since they have Javan and you can snowball pretty much the game, if they get ahead at this moment, then they can like get a really good advantage as well. But yeah, if it fails, and like it has a lot of chances to fail, I think, because like the wave is pushing into you, the AD carry is gonna stay but regardless.
Yeah, with TP.
So like if you lose it, yeah, we saw pretty much then like Javan is behind, and if Nar gets ahead in this matchup, like there is no coming back, I think.
And as you said, like with the snowballing component, I actually felt like I've seen this out of Gamsu so many times when he was back on Dignitas, when he was just like, just give me Javan, I'll try and carry, and then they'd lose the early game, and then from there they'd fall behind. We haven't really seen that so much out of Fnatic recently, so I was a little surprised to see them go for such a heavy dive, all in, let's try and get ahead early and continue winning comp. It's not really something we've seen from them too much.
No, especially not around top lane. Like Gamsu is mainly the team player who plays a lot of tanks, not really the big carries. Like Vitality, when we saw the Jarvan pick, it wasn't actually surprising. It was more like, oh, this is the Vitality style, you know, Kabashard on carry, and they try and snowball. That's yours then. We know he loves it. No, but like when you play these like snowballing champs where if you have a good top laner when it comes to the mechanic abilities, and like he used to being a carry, I think there's a high chance it will work, obviously, than if you have a guy who's mainly playing tanks. But I think you're right. I think this comp was drafted around diving with Alistar Elise, and then like snowball the Jarvan over and over. But to me, there's like, you kind of painted on a sign before the game even started what your game plan is. Like, oh, we have a Jarvan, we're going to snowball the Jarvan. So like the other team like will obviously protect against that.
Do you think that Fnatic should, we saw Febiven's stats obviously, do you think they should always just try and bet on him?
I don't think you always can in the current meta with like Victor, Azir, these picks. I don't think you can necessarily like camp them. I don't think that's worth it in the mid lane. But Fnatic has done really well in the past when Febiven plays side lane, and they play like 1-3-1. But the current meta just heavily favors these control mages.
Yeah. Player of the game in this one is Mithy, if only for that post-game interview. No, he's always a very, very solid player. And it raises the question for me about the supports in EU and the level, because we've seen a lot of supports that were really dominating in the spring split, not being able to make the cut here. But Mithy is one of those that just keeps being consistent. How much of a difference will this make as the split progresses, Kabashard?
I don't know. I think the meta support has been like one of the most changing from spring. At the end of spring, it was a lot about Braum, Alistar, and like having that really good tank in teamfights. We saw the change moving towards Karma, Nami, Janna, and like some Bard, because like Bard in the mid game is just like maybe the best support because of like the catch potential and all of that. And like Mithy has been adapting to any of those meta, so like he it's a really good point for them.
And that's the thing, is he's not only just adapting to the champions, but the different play styles throughout the game as well. As you're saying, like range supports have a very different role when it comes to laning and mid game compared to tanks. And Mithy's not only going, okay, well I can play Alistar and I can play Bard and get the engage bit down. He's doing the warding bit, the catching, like everything that he needs to do seems to be on point with Mithy when he changes champion and changes slight play style.
I mean, Mithy's just so annoying to play against because, like, back when he joined the LCS Season 3 summer, when he joined Lemon Dogs, he came in, he was instantly smarter than every other support. He also had better mechanics than every other support, and he just needed stage experience. He got that during the summer split, and ever since he's actually been, like, the best or at least top 2 support in Europe. I feel at least. He will obviously say he had some down periods and up and so on, but we don't count like individual weeks. We look at overall an entire split. I feel like Mithy has always been one of the absolute best, and definitely for the last year he's been the best support in Europe. So that's why for G2, getting him as a bot lane with the best AD carry as well was kind of like, yep, this is a great upgrade. We should go for this, and obviously it's working for them.
Yeah, a lot of praise here for Mithy. We also have a tweet after G2 took Game 1 versus Fnatic. H2K's Jankos made a little confession on Twitter. I just said Perks sucks, and he carried so hard along with Ben. Feels bad, man.
Looks like he watched Vedi's telestrator and was like, that's it, I've made my mind up. Febby's the man to watch.
They're always bantering, aren't they, these two? So
always.
it's cool that, cool that he comes out with the praise when it does happen. Let's take a look at another series. We're going to keep that tweet up that I want to look at specifically. Roccat versus Giants. It might not be the match that you're like, oh, I'm really going to watch it. But Giants, they 2-0'd Roccat, which was quite surprising to me. I thought this was going to be a tie.
I mean, a lot of people now, we think almost every game is going to be a tie at the moment, but Game 1 was really one-sided. Giants were in full control almost all games. Sunstar had a great performance, and Maxlaw had a fantastic performance on this Rek'Sai. And they were just constantly playing these long-range comps that set up Sunstar to like execute a lot of fights. I think Game 2 was closer, but like this play you see here in your screen was really bad setup from Roccat, where they're like going down to the bottom lane without teleport and really poor play. And basically what happened next was the Nexus died, even though it was in the early game. We just skipped through it, but it was a game where Giants were a little bit behind, but they were just much better in the late game, which is something Rocket used to be good at, but now they were weaker in the late game than Giants, and also weaker in the early game.
It's funny you should talk about that play with the Bard magical chain, because I was like, oh, this looks like an interesting setup, and then you realize there's TPs on the other side, and you're like, oh, okay, numbers don't go their way. One thing I want to talk about for Roccat, and Cabo, I'm glad we have you here, because you're a top laner that doesn't always stick to what is currently, everybody's playing. We saw Lissandra come out for Parang. We also saw the Jace that Parang is well known for. What's your thoughts on perhaps those kind of picks and where they fit in the current meta?
Like, they are for sure not like top tier picks, but they have their place at some point. I don't know if they were like last picked or picked against like the Rumble into Lissandra or the other way around, but like they can work sometimes, and like since the support are not as tanky anymore, you don't have to play tank, maybe top neither, and that's why we see the rise of Irelia and like all of these champions that can dive in, and like it's much easier to dive into an Nami that like a Brom or a Time Kench that's just gonna eat the AD carry and run away. So.
But don't you feel like Jace top lane, to me, he seems so out of place, because Jace does so well when he can group in the mid game and like siege, but he's your top laner with teleport who you want to put in a side lane. So like he has to just rely on split pushing, but that's why I feel like Trundle, Irelia, these picks just do it much better than he does. So to me, it's kind of an odd pick that doesn't really fit in.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the case. At some point, he's gonna get outscaled against this kind of champion, and like he will just not get the priority on any of them at any point of the game. So maybe against Lissandra or something, if you go Malmortius, you can actually have the priority, because Lissandra is not gonna hold the Jace if she has some MR. But yeah, rather than that, I don't think he's like that good. Like Rumble and Lissandra are much more like pickable than Jace.
Definitely.
At that Rumble, Smitty J played it twice. You had a very interesting statement about Smitty J versus Cabo Shard before we got to this.
I mean, that was just between friends, that statement.
Okay, but let's ask Cabo Shard about Smitty J. Because Giants in general have surprised. They've been doing a lot better than a lot of people had expected. How do you think Smitty J is playing right now?
Better than last split, I think. Like the change in the mid lane as well actually has been good, and the jungle, Maxwell is playing good as well. We see even Sunstar is like playing better than he used to. Like in week 1 and 2 and 3, even he was not that good, and maybe the Jhin pick fits him quite well. Actually, I think Jhin has been like way better today than it has been before, and like maybe it's because now they set it up more. Like teams are getting better together, and playing with Jhin in the mid lane is like really good to get priority and then poke somewhere.
Yeah, that's the story of the day for me.
Gotta make the Smitty J point now because now it seems weird, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm not. It's fine.
No, because I actually think the point is super valid, just not in the way it's worded, but like basically I called Smitty J from last split like the discount version of Capo Shot because he tried to play the no, but that's actually a praise now.
No, I know what's
the
coming
next
up.
part is gonna be the praise because he tried to play the same style, plays a lot of Irelia as well, wants to play carries up top, but just didn't have the same success. But then the way he's playing this split, you know, it's kind of turned around a little bit. And
Ouch.
if we look at overall performance, I feel like Smitty J is actually getting. He's playing really well. I don't think he's better than Capo Shot. I think right now Smitty J is just doing really well on his own. And because Giants have like him, Knight, and Maxlaw on the top side of the map, they're actually able to win early games, which I think is super cool. Not saying he's better than you.
But you say something
so
like that, and you
flustered.
don't let him answer, and then you go, I don't really mean it. I don't really mean
Oh
it.
no, please. What do you think about Smitty J?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think he's much more comfortable on picks like Rumble, Irelia, Trundle than he used to be on maybe the tanks. And yeah, he's getting better synergy with his jungler as well compared to. I don't know when did Maxlaw come in.
This split.
Yeah.
This
Yeah,
split.
okay.
Let's talk some more about jungle top synergy. Vitality versus Schalke today, 1-1, and the return of Shook. We actually had an interview with him. Kabashard, he was player of the game. How was it for you to play again with him and the team, and how did it kind of change the dynamic of the way you guys played?
It changes the dynamic a lot. I think both Shook and Mighty are like really good players, but Shook is much more around vision control and like less maybe selfish, which like was a style that was better for jungler before. But now that you see more Elise, less Graves and Kindred, maybe it's working a bit better for us. We can more control the mid game and like trap at Nashor or something. So it has been good so far.
You guys played the Kennen in game 2 that we're seeing on screens now. Can you maybe talk us through that? You picked it into the Gnar. Is that something you guys had been sitting on?
Yeah, it always has been a good pick into Gnar, and like the lane was going really well, and then we made the good TB player on top lane that got us ahead, but then they did a good rotation, putting the bot lane against me on bot when they was pushing in, and like they get back into the game because of that. And then it was that team fight mid that we play without flash against the Gnar, and like he gets a really good ultimate, and like from this point it was pretty hard for us to come back. Cause like
Oh, sorry.
sorry. At any point, like Gnar is gonna get the split push advantage on Kennen, because like Kennen, even if he gets item, is gonna be good in team fight. But Gnar, he gets some tankiness, and Kennen can't match it no more. So they went out of that.
Yeah, I did. Sorry for interrupting you. I don't know how much you can say about this, but obviously Shook is back for now. Are you guys planning on doing a rotation with the two junglers? I know that Mighty Bear is still also in the house practicing, or...
Yeah, we're gonna see how it develops. Like as I said, I think both are really good, and we're gonna see like to which side we adapt the best, and like we can play with both. Yeah.
All right, well, we will see what happens. Let's take a look at another series played out today. H2K versus Origin, another tie. And Origin actually took that first game. The Fisho, you were casting it. It was really long.
Yeah, it was long, but HK decided to all in for a fight in the end, so we didn't have to go the full 80 minutes like we've seen. But there's actually the fight you see now. Yango started flashing Cocoon. They knew the game was already lost. They would lose like every inhib again, so they were like, try last team fight, and if we lose, the game is over anyway. This game, however, was actually really good from H2K. Great setup there, punishing on Dragon against Origin, and it was a bit like the play from Fnatic G2 we just saw now, where like one play in the early game is so impactful, it technically decides the game, because H2K just kept setting up Baron baits after this over and over, and actually lost a big fight and lost the Baron in 20 minutes, which was kind of crazy. But it was only enough for Origin to get close in gold, and then once we got out of the Baron power play, again, there was a bit of late game comp from H2K, and they kind of played slow and steady. Yankas in their interview after, he actually wasn't happy, like at all, and I don't blame him, because game 1 was really bad from H2K, and game 2 was still fairly messy. He said there's a lot of things to work on, and they have issues like on stage right now. So it's hard to like put them in the top of the standings, like say they're as good as Fnatic and G2. He actually said they were as good as every other team but those two. Like he put himself in that group, like with the other 7 teams. Yeah, no, it's a big group.
Yeah, it is a big group. Odawamne actually echoed Jankos' sentiments. He took to Twitter and he said how he really felt about the series. Really disappointed with our games lately. GG to Origin. I hope we can get out of our slump soon. So with our games lately, obviously last week that 0-2 versus the UOL as well. Kabashard, what do you make of H2K's struggles at the moment?
Yeah, no, like maybe actually I don't know really what to say. Like I've seen they lost last week. They lost one game and then they tied, and they tied again today. So like we're used to them being on the top. I think week 3 they're actually first or second.
Yeah.
Like what is it due to? I'm not really sure. Like the style is not that different than with Forgiven, I would say, but actually I don't know what to say.
Well, yeah. Mystery.
I think for me, when I watch H2K over the last 2 weeks, a lot of the games they've had issues in is them just saying, well, let's not do anything for a while. And they're waiting and waiting for the right play. And then suddenly the ship kind of sails and nobody's making any plays. It's Ryu from Spring that was kind of being active in a lot of their wins, making catches, making play setups for them. Doesn't seem to be working quite so well for H2K
Yeah, they
right
probably just themselves also haven't figured out what is going wrong yet because it's going well with the same formula for so long.
Yeah, I mean, again, Yankas in his interview, he talked about how communication in Scrim was very different from on stage. And one point that Pulse and I made during the cast quite a lot that he also echoed during his interview was like, sometimes specific players just need to play more aggressive. Like from time to time, you're setting up a Baron. Let's say you have a Shin or whatever with Taunt Flash. Like sometimes you just gotta pull it and go for the Taunt Flash and see if you can catch 2 or 3 guys. That's how you start your fight. And then it's much higher tempo in the way you're playing, but they're doing it extremely safe. And whenever they then fall behind on the map, it's very hard for them to pull out of it. It's not like they don't want to, but it's just very difficult if you're losing the map already. And that's what happened in game 1 where they just couldn't do anything.
Yeah, let's take a look at where they end up in the standings at the halfway point of the summer split. Now for real, though. G2 is the new #1, or they have reclaimed their spot after that matchup versus Fnatic. H2K is still in 3rd, but hot on their heels are Schalke. And then we have, obviously, all those teams are Splice, Giants, Vitality, Unicorns of Love, Origin, and a Rocket in last. But all those teams are very, very close together. So what do we make of that? It's just not... Like, do you also, as Janko said, oh, we count ourselves to all the other teams. Do you also think, hey, right now we're just not a top 2 team?
Yeah, I don't think we are. Like with the change of Shook, we're gonna see how it goes. Like furthermore, because we play only 1 game or like 1 best of 2, I guess. And yeah, like we are not as good as G2 and Fnatic for sure right now.
But again, it counts for almost every team, right? We keep seeing this where it's each team every week I feel like have like a great game, and then the next game things just fall apart. Like either it's inconsistency or it's just teams not being that much better than anyone else, so it's just so close and one little thing will tip it every time.
Yeah, let's talk about those draws. 3 today, 7 in week 4. Is it just the relative level of the teams then?
I think it's because we don't have teams that are clearly much better than others, except for G2 Fnatic.
Yeah.
Right now, also with H2K slumping, and you guys obviously now making roster changes, and some of the teams we saw dominate last split and give us some very one-sided games are no longer doing it. So when you have all these teams that are very close to each other in level, and you can then argue, is it because they're all like decent level, is it because they're low level, like whatever, that's a different discussion. But they're so close to each other, and that's why we have so many ties where it's not clear who's the best team on the day.
Is the improvement going slower than it was in previous seasons in summer? Because we know we always are looking forward to what Europe can do on the international stage at Worlds, but I feel like it's going a bit slower, the teams getting better below the top 2 at least, or is that my imagination, Kabashar?
I'm not sure if it's that the reason, but we can see like as for the standings, like as soon as the team is gonna get better and better and you actually get like 2 or 3 wins, you directly get to that top spot, I think, because like we are so many around 10 points, but like 2 wins already give 6 points, so it's already like gonna be big to the team that's actually gonna step up the most, I think, in the weeks coming.
I think one of the things for me as well, week by week, is we've either seen meta shifts or patch changes that bring different champions up and down, and teams are struggling. Whether you're Rocket and you start the split and Vladimir and Swain are great, and you get them in the first couple of games and it looks brilliant for you, and then suddenly Swain gets nerfed, Vladimir, people start learning how to play around, Shen comes in the top lane all of a sudden, and there's these big changes that are changing how the game plays out that I don't think all of the teams are quite keeping up with yet.
Speaking of which, earlier in the show, we asked you to tweet us to let us know who you think is the most worthy pick in the current meta and why. And from Law Odysseus had an accurate answer for us saying, Shen, that cross-map pressure is OP. Shen picked 6 times today, Gnar 5 times, Rumble twice, Trundle twice, and Aurelia, Lissandra, Jace Cannon, and Jarvan once. Shen, Gnar are taken to the throne as the rulers of the top lane, so to say. Is that accurate enough?
Yeah, Shen is a really good pick. I think you're gonna win a lot of games in Europe right now by having TP advantage, and Shen is just gonna bring like another TP. Like other than that, he's losing quite hard to split pushes as well. Like we see Gnar picked into it or Trundle. And like when they get to the point that they can pressure him to his tower, he's not gonna have that freedom to just like push and TP somewhere and get the pressure on the map. But he's a really solid pick, and like the change they made to W, it's actually quite hard, I think, as AD carry to try to team fight against him right now.
I think it was also worth saying Irelia was banned quite a lot today, especially over on our stream. Olaf was banned quite a bit as well, who's also been used in top lane from time to time. So there's been some focus on banning out certain top laners, but Shen actually wasn't banned away. Instead, he was in picked and was he banned 3 games?
3 games
Okay.
on throughout the day, so I think that's a total of 9, 6, and 3 overall. But
Yeah.
you are right as well. He gets through quite a lot of the time.
So right now, teams are trying him out, and then obviously Nara comes in often as a pick into the Shen, and that obviously means he goes up in value. And that's always how the meta shift. Like when a certain pick really becomes popular, counters will too, and then it keeps changing and changing and changing.
That's how the meta works?
That's how the meta works.
Oh.
Or you can play Jay's stuff,
Yeah.
Hey.
Thank you to Fischl. Now for a quick recap of our players of the game this evening. Let's take a look at the leaderboard for today, at least. Vizicachi, I think that is his first one also. And
Trashy's first one.
Trashy's first one as well.
Maybe
And
Shook's first one as well.
Shook first, yeah.
Hey.
True. Vizicachi and Trashy both. A lot of firsts actually here, and for Chachi that's quite interesting. And we have Kabushard here as well. That's someone we always looked at as being like the backbone of the Unicorns of Love, but he's been doing a lot better lately. What do you think of his play so far?
I think actually Shen coming back is pretty good for them. It has been like, I think even in summer last split, he has been one of the most Shen player, and he's maybe actually the one that brought us in, like brought us the Shen in Europe. Yeah. So I think that's good for them. The Nara as well, he has been playing it. I'm not so sure about the Irelia, but we've seen him play like Eloy or some pocket picks that actually has been banned sometimes. And yeah, I think he's a solid player.
Yeah, not too bad on the rally either. Let's also take a look at the player of the game leaderboard overall with those players from today tallied up. Trick is still there. Did we actually say who was the player?
Some of us voted for him, but it went to Mithy in the end.
Oh,
so he stays on 5. I was
Mithy.
jumping the gun as well.
Yeah.
Thought the same.
Well, it's still the same. And then Kabushard, boom, over there, 4 points. Does that make you happy?
I guess. I'm not first, so not really.
You're the only top laner in the top 10 from what I could see. And a lot of junglers.
A lot of junglers.
And some mid laners in there, Knight is in there as an example. He deserves it. Obviously, he's been fantastic, but only top laner.
Thank you, good sir.
I don't know what we should say about it.
Well, you're trying to...
Yeah, you're trying to butter him
say
up after the
something,
budget
yeah.
Smitty J would swap around.
I was saying
now.
Smitty J has been playing really well, and
I
he
see
has
how it
played
is.
really well.
He's just trying to suck up to you. It's okay.
No,
it's fine. It's fine.
Hey, we don't berate people
it's
here
too late
for
to say
sticking to their
sorry.
guns. It's not good. We need some strong
He
opinions.
agreed. Smitty J is doing well. That's all that matters.
We're all doing well. We're going to take a look at the schedule for tomorrow as week 5 of the summer continues. Kicking off with Roccat versus H2K on EULCS1, and then the Unicorns against Schalke on EULCS2. Let's take a look at Vitality's matchup. Splice could be interesting. Splice has had some really good games lately. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're playing way better than last split. The addition of the support is pretty good for them. I think it's going to be really important for us to get that win, to actually try to get off more and more from that big pack of all those teams.
Today's games for Splice were a little disappointing for people who were expecting Splice to keep up their top of the table kind of run. They just struggled under the pressure of Unicorns using Shen.
Again, I feel like it's just Europe right now.
Yeah.
Like whenever we're like, oh, this team looked very good this week, so next week we expect more. I mean, Fnatic Giants to me is a pretty exciting game after Giants got 2-0 today, and obviously Fnatic struggled versus G2. So I feel like that's the kind of game where Fnatic will be favorites still. But Giants have shown that they can actually play really good early games and they can snowball the game, so that could easily be a tie.
Does that mean we have to change the meme that now in Europe everybody loses or ties to everybody?
Everyone
and
ties
Fnatic
to everyone, yeah.
And in the end, Fnatic wins.
Well, in the end, right now, I guess G2 wins.
I
G2
suppose.
wins. Right now, they do. In any case, tomorrow, set your alarms and grab your friends. If you live in Europe and you have to set your alarm, then you've been sleeping really long. We'll be back tomorrow night at 5 p.m. Central European Summer Time, and that is 8 a.m. Pacific. Until then, first up, thank you to Kabushard for joining us.
Thanks for inviting me, I guess.
Thank you.
Thank you, the Fisher, for being so cool with me.
Yeah, there we go. And thank you all for watching. We'll see you tomorrow night as the summer split continues. Good night.
Geared up for our first game of the day here on EULCS1. He knocks Exile back. Can they turn it? No! Unicorns of Love once again take control. The gold lead is too massive. Veritas, is he going to hit the shots? Kobbe, he's going to fall. Oh! Great shot coming in. Unicorns of Love moving up 1-0. Oh no! Zencook's on the backside. He's making things happen. Splice suddenly out of nowhere just picking up kills.
Our game plan is always tempo, pressure, 1 minute ahead, and also making sure that we find ourselves. Because when we find ourselves and when we are ourselves, we accomplish great things.
We can finish him.
Swing.
Nice. Kill Shen and go mid. Kill Shen and go mid. Kill Shen and go mid.
Nice.
I'll just go. Caitlyn, guys. Caitlyn's the main focus there. Caitlyn's main focus here. Caitlyn's the main focus there.
She's stunned.
Nice.
And Vitality are going to take 1-0 in this first game of this series.
Let's go. Yeah, come here.
Nice, dude.
And oh my word! That is Vitality dropping down to 0. And here we are, onto the Rift. Europe's Titans.
Can we Baron?
Yeah, we can.
I'm the HP.
Nice, I hit him.
Go base. Is that maybe? Nice. We can Baron.
Yeah.
Nice.
Good job, guys.
Nice.
Clean game. Really good.
G2 in just under 40, take down Fnatic.
I'm basing.
Can fight.
Varro soon.
Yeah, you can fight alone, I think. Nice.
I'll stay on Varro.
Oh, Elise.
Varro.
Oh.
No.
G2 Esports 2-0, Clinic on Fnatic.